So the aim of the workshop today is to learn how to create maps, flows to identify the current state and scope out the desired state of business processes, and identify gaps and opportunities for improvement in meeting users and organizational needs. I've been following the volunteers group for the business analysts, and I love what the leaders are doing there, getting people to share their knowledge of business analysts, and so many definitions of business analysis is there. So that means you guys, you know what you're doing. You've already done your research about business analysis. So this right here is just one of the techniques we use to identify problem. As you probably know, like reading from your charts yesterday, business analysis is about identifying business needs, identifying issues, problems, challenges. It doesn't have to be problems, because there are some businesses that don't really have problem, but they are forward thinking. So they are looking for new ways of doing things, new ways of developing, so that they can remain competitive. So business analysis is all about looking at how do we make things better for the company? How do we create values? How do we identify problems and then recommending solutions that will solve those problems? That is just kind of a summary of what business analysis is. So in order to be able to identify those problems, it is important to look at the processes within the organization that has touch points with the problem they're about to solve. And we're going to be talking about it shortly. We have two case studies we're going to be looking at as well, so that we can tie it all in and it becomes real for you. So in order for us to be able to do this, we are going to be focusing in on the fundamentals of business processes, why they matter, and exploring business process modeling notation techniques. This is just one of the tools or one of the techniques used in identifying business processes and mapping it out, whether it's a current process or where the business wants to get to, where the future state of the process, commonly known as a to be, where we are heading towards a target state, which is rooted in collected team knowledge and assumptions of users and business needs. Now, the case studies we are using today, they are just made up case studies. So we are going to be using our own knowledge, and we're going to be using a lot of assumptions. You will put yourself in the position of the users and the business so that we can get those case studies sorted today. And we are going to be using these tools to get us to do that. Lucidchart. If you got the email for the invite, I'm sure you would have seen a link to signing up for Lucidchart. It's free. It's free. If you haven't, I'm going to put it on the chat so that you can do that while we have a break or something like that. So we're using Lucidchart. Of course, there is also Visio. Now, the reason why I wanted us to use Visio initially, but the reason why we are going to be using Lucidchart is Visio isn't free. Yeah. There are two ways to get Visio. Is either you buy the desktop version, which is very expensive. The professional Visio costs about £600 or something. However, you can also subscribe to Microsoft by paying monthly. And there are two packages or two deals. One is what you use online, and the other you can download, or you can use a desktop version. So because it's not free, but you have a 1 month free version. But I just wanted us to use a tool that is free for life, even though it's got its own limitation, but Lucidchart is free for life. You won't have to upgrade or buy or pay for anything if you don't want to. But if you want to access certain parts of Lucidchart, definitely you may need to pay for that. So we are using Lucidchart today, but whatever we learn about Lucidchart, we are using the BPMN, which we'll be talking about, is also the same BPMN on Visio. So if you know how to use BPMN on Lucidchart, you can definitely use Visio because most organizations use Visio. And I don't encourage people, well, I don't to go and buy the professional Visio by yourself and install on your computer, because when you get a job, your organization will give you a license for Visio anyway. So learn Lucidchart and then transfer that learning into Visio later. So we're also going to be collaborating on Miro because we have a case study to discuss. And Miro is just like being in an office, and we put up a flip chart up or post-it notes, and everybody gets up and we are putting post-it notes around the room. Miro is the remote version of that, electronic version of that. So we're going to be using Miro, and I will show you, for those who don't have knowledge of Miro, I'll show you how to navigate that. So it's quite easy to navigate and very, very useful tool. So those are the tools we'll be using today. And like I said earlier, we'll be gathering valuable insights from you guys, from everybody, putting ourselves in the audience mindset to be able to get this done. All right. So the output we want to get out of today's workshop from the activities we're going to be doing will be an ASIS process map. And probably, if you have the time, an early stage of scoping out the to-be process model using BPMN. If we have the time, we can do a bit of gap analysis, because the reason why we create the ASIS process map is so that we can identify the gaps and then look at the actions that we need in order to scope out our target state. Hope that makes sense. But everything will make sense just once we get into it. Now, before we start, I just quickly want to make sure that everybody, just a quick, to make sure we are all fine with accessing all these different tools. So I'll stop sharing my screen for a second and put a link to the Visio board, to the Miro board, so that, because I need you to go in there now. If you haven't, again, I'm not sure whether you got it in the invite. So let me quickly copy and paste on the chart for you. Okay. Can you see it on the chat? Please click on that. And then it will take you somewhere to the board. It's asking for a password. Oh, type ladder back down. Ladder back down is a password. Ladder back down. Brilliant. I see people coming in. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Can you all see my screen? Just to be able to show people what you can see. I have 27 people, 29. Good, 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 great stuff. Awesome. Anybody having issues going in? Yeah, I can see a lot of people, 44. Yours is asking for work email. Please you don't need any email. Just click on the link and it should take you in there. You don't need to register. Click on the link and it should take you there. We have 50 people here. Brilliant, awesome. How many of us are here? All right, we have 121 participants, but 55 people on the board. All right, while people are getting in, to be able to expand, because right now you will see that it's very tiny. Let me bring people to where I am. You can see that it's very tiny. If you look to the bottom right of your screen, you will see a minus plus sign, just like you will see on a Word to zoom in or zoom out, okay? You may increase the percentage there by 30, 50%, or click on plus sign. I'm not sharing my screen. Right, okay. Can you see my screen now? Awesome, okay. Okay, so what I want you to do, if you can, you will see on your screen where it says start. Let me bring everybody over to me. Where it says start, right here, you will see some Post-it notes. I want you to write your first name, just your first name. Just double click on each of the Post-it notes and write your first name. Yeah, like I'm doing. Treasure. Just double click on the Post-it notes and type your name. On the Post-it note and type your name. Okay. Oh, I am so sorry. I apologize. Yeah, it's my fault. Can edit. Okay. Let's try that again. Brilliant. Yeah, great. I can see everybody jumping in. Amazing. So click on the Post-it note. We may not have enough Post-it notes. Click if you need more Post-it notes. If you check the left side of the screen where you see menu, you will see icon that says sticky notes. Just drag it into the board and type your name in there. Great, great, great. All right, Bukola, you don't have access to type. Are you using a laptop, desktop? If you're not, this will not work on the phone unless you install the app on your phone. No, we are not in any room yet, Margaret. Don't worry, we'll do that later. Oh, you're using a phone. Yeah, sorry, you won't be able to do it on the phone unless you install the app on your phone. Brilliant. We'll give just 2 minutes to do that. Great. If you see any empty Post-it note, the yellow Post-it note, just double click on it and then type. Double click and type. This is just a testing exercise for us to be able to type into Miro, because we'll do that later in our activity. If you mistakenly move anything, just click undo, please. Yeah, all right. Great, all right. Thank you so much for doing that. We have very many people have typed in their name. Great, great, great. For those who are not able to type it in, don't worry. Don't worry, just follow us, because I'm sharing my screen so you'll be able to see what is going on, okay? You can type in your name and you're using a laptop. Right. I've resent the link. Please see, but it says you're not in the meeting. Right. Okay. All right, that's fine, brilliant. So I'm going to move to the side of the screen. I've configured it in a way that I want people to follow us as we do. Now, this is just a quick check-in to make sure everybody has access to what we are doing here. Your Miro works, and this is to confirm that your Miro works, because I've seen many people type in their name, so that means your Miro works. And this is what we call the definition of ready. You'll get to that point when you start your project. The definition of ready is, how do we know we are ready to go? Password is ladder back down, Victor. Ladder back down. That's a password. Okay, so now your Miro works, your Zoom works, and that is why you are on the call today. That's the second ready to work criteria. Videos are on. No, we are not turning on our videos, so videos are off. And the reason why we are not turning on our video is so that we can have good bandwidth for those who are in a low network environment. Visio, we are not going to be using Visio today, so I'll take that off. Lucidchart works. We'll come to Lucidchart later. And like I said, for Miro, just to give you some tips on Miro, it's best used on Chrome. Miro is best used on Chrome. Somebody has moved something. All right, Miro is best used on Chrome. And if it's not working on your Windows Explorer, Microsoft Explorer or Safari, you may need to use Chrome. Now, if you look to the top corner of the board of the canvas here, where it shows a logo, the IntellBA logo there, you can click on that to follow me in case you're lost, you don't know where I am. If you click on that, then you will see follow Treasure, okay? So that I'll be able to find where I am. If you make any mistakes, maybe you mistakenly delete something, just press Ctrl-Z to undo. Yeah, just, right, okay. Okay. Is that okay? I've turned it off. Am I moving too fast, Benedict? I thought I was really being slow. Where is there any? How can I help? Is there any way I can help? Can you also see my screen? Yeah, I've turned it off. I can hear. I can understand because we're about 100 and something people on the call, so that's why it's usually when you're using Miro, you don't have as many collaborators like that. But yeah, I've turned the cursor off. But if I were to turn it on, you will see many people. If you at the top corner, top right of your screen, you will see the menu at the top, something that says arrow. If you click arrow, you will see everybody's arrow. But if you click that again, it will take everybody's arrow off. Now, when you see, if you can see a logo, something like blue, white logo, that is me. If you click on that logo, you will see follow me. You will be able to follow Treasure. And I can also bring everyone to me. So right now I am on the screen that says Miro tips. Yeah, so you can see where I am at the moment. So if you make any mistake, just click Control Z. To zoom in and out, like any other app on your device, you can use Control plus or minus key to zoom in and out, or you can go to the bottom left, the bottom right of your screen to change the percentage. Okay. Right, this session is not really about Miro training, but yeah, because we need it for the exercise, that's why I'm really trying to get everyone to learn it. But when we come to our activity, you can assign somebody who can use Miro to type on your behalf there. So not everybody will be typing so that it doesn't become too rowdy. But yeah, you can just assign somebody within your group to be your scribe on Miro. And then later we can get to know how to use Miro. All right, so great. So I'm going to stop sharing. Now I'm happy that you can at least, a majority of you can get onto Miro. We have about 73 people right here, which is great. How do you follow me? Don't worry, we are coming out of Miro now to get on the training for the day because of our time. Okay. So I'll stop sharing and go back to. Can you all see my screen? Okay. All right. On the chat, I want you to type on the chat, what are you looking to get out of today's session? On the chat, please. What are you looking to get out of today's session? On the chat, what are you looking to get out? Okay. Luashe, how to use BPMN for process mapping. Make sense of what I'm doing at work in progress to be able to use BPMN effectively, how to do gap analysis, entirety of process analysis, looking to understand the business analysis process, as well as understand the necessary tools needed to excel in the role, refresh myself or process mapping, understand BPMN and transfer that skill to my job, effectively use BPMN, in-depth understanding of BPMN, gap analysis, how to do process mapping, gap analysis, understand what the business process is, understand how to map it, and the value of business process mapping. Gap analysis, getting from an as-is to a to-be, clear understanding of process mapping, more knowledge of process mapping, to professionally document and use BA tools, understand as-is and to-be maps, learn process modeling and the tools in the process, more insight on business process, looking to get ahead. Okay, brilliant. Everybody, what we can get, we have a theme here. Gap analysis, process mapping, BPMN. Yeah, and how to identify gaps and actions that will help us to find where the target state. Okay, so we're going to be doing all of that today. If we cannot finish it, we'll also always jump on a call with us when we start the project to help with that. But I'll try and cover as much as I can. We have a few hours, and I also want us to practice it because we have different types of learners, learning style. Some people learn auditorily, some people learn visually, most people learn kinesthetically. You want to be able to do. Personally, I like to do before it makes sense to me. So we'll have an ample opportunity today to practice working on our case study and mapping out the process ourselves using that tool so that you can begin to get confident in how to map processes. Okay, so anybody, you are free to unmute yourself. Anybody want to tell us what business process analysis is from your research, or you can type it on the chat. What do you think business process analysis is? Or if you want to do a show of hands, and we can get you to unmute yourself to tell us. Anybody? There is no right or wrong answer. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. Who is confident to do it? I know you know it. I know you know it. So what is business process analysis? Anyone? Gwen?
Well,
go for it.
Business process. Hello.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay, I'll mute my mic. You go on.
Okay.
Business process analysis means understanding first of all, understanding the business itself and the goals of the business and the objective. Then knowing, I'm just putting it in a layman's term. I'm not using any.
No worries.
Knowing what the present state of the business is, which is the as-is, how you've met it, what they are doing at the current time. Then also trying to know what they want the business to be like, or what they want to achieve, which is the to-be process. So going from what they have already at hand to what they want to achieve.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Zita. Well done. Great one. Gwen, do you want to have a go?
Yeah. So my understanding of business process analysis would be that a thorough understanding and investigation and examination of the way a business carries out their day-to-day process with regards to organizational structure, their vision, their mission, and many other things that makes up the business itself. So just analyzing and trying to understand the process. And we can go further into looking at if there was a project in this case, we can look at where the organization wants to be and thorough understanding of that as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, Jojo.
Good morning. Thank you for calling me up. So in my understanding, I think it's a deep dive of how a deep dive into how things are done in a business environment, just how they go about what they do in a business environment. That's my understanding of it.
Yes, you're right. Thank you. Fidelia? Yeah, let's take that last.
Business process analysis is defined, is a process structured and is a measured set of activities designed to produce a specific outcome for a particular client.
Yes, great. Thank you. Yeah, you smashed it. Grace said that having to show a clear flow of how business operates. Uwa said a method to review the processes that govern business operations. Ronke said analysis of a business process. I like that definition. What is business process analysis? It is an analysis of business process. Well done, Ronke. And Vicky said simply auditing a day-to-day business activities. BC, it's a way of eliminating manual and repetitive tasks to drive efficiency. Babatewa, basically analyzing and understanding how a business process works and see how improvement can be done on it. Amelia, a graphical representation of a business process, who are reviewing processes, collecting data, analyzing processes, identifying opportunities for improvements and making changes. Great stuff, guys. Yes, you are all right. Now, this is just a summary of everything that you've mentioned. Business process analysis is a systematic approach to understanding, documenting, and improving the various processes within an organization. You'll be looking at all the activities of that process, from what they do, from the beginning of that process, when that process is triggered, every single activity. You'll be looking at the inputs, if there's any data inputs, any data outputs, any handoffs, any interactions with one functional area. Let's say the finance officer collates the financial reports of sales transaction in March, and then part of the process that he then has to hand that over to their manager to review. So the activity there is collating financial transactions, then handing over to manager, sent to manager, then manager reviews. So the inputs, outputs, and interactions that happens within a business process, so that you want to be able to identify any inefficiencies, any bottlenecks, and any opportunities for optimization. You know, they said that, you know, there's this, I don't know if it's an addict, they say that if we keep doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that is the definition of insanity, right? Every organization, you know, things progress, technologies change, the market changes, the taste of consumers change. So it's very essential for organizations to also review their processes or review the way they work, review their objectives to be able to stay competitive within the market, okay? And one of the ways they're able to do that is to be able to look at what processes do we have in place right now? Is it still working? Is it still meeting the needs of our customers? Is the complaints that we get from the customers, the drop in sale, what could be happening? Do we need to remove anything? Is there a very high attrition rate in the organization? People applying for the job, they stay in the job for 3 months and they resign. What could be going on? Is there a lot of manual work? How can we automate it? What areas of opportunities can we explore? So that is reviewing a process analysis and business processes. Now, to be able to do that, we use a technique called business process analysis, which is a systematic approach to understanding, documenting, and improving all these processes within an organization. I remember back in 2021, I was contracting for an organization, and they had about 27 different processes within a department, not the whole of the organization, within just one department, they had 27 different processes. And everything was kind of clunky, and people weren't sure what to go, and they spent so much. For instance, if the customer is a doctor, they want to apply for it, they want to do their consultant training, they register for training, and then it takes many months before they even get assigned their training slot. Okay. And it's just because of all the processes, all the activities that have to be done from end to end before the doctor is able to get what they need to do. So they spend so much time waiting. I was brought in to be able to make the process leaner. How can we make it leaner? How can we streamline our processes? How can we automate part of the processes so that our staff don't have to do things manually and burn themselves out? So from 27 processes, we're able to get it down to just 6. Because at the end of the day, it was just lots of handoffs, bottlenecks, and wastes across the process. So that is one of the things you do when you are analyzing a business process as a business analyst. And let me tell you something. Business process analysis is a bread and butter of a business analyst. That is what we do, well, majority of what we do. Because there is no job, there is no contract, or there is no project that you deliver without understanding how things currently work. You must understand how things currently work. You start a job as a business analyst. They say, okay, we want to be able to, we are implementing a food ordering system, or we are implementing a grant management system. Oh, brilliant, great job. That's going to be fun. Implementing a grant management system. Why do we need a grant management system? Okay, yeah, we give grants to to people, to different individuals, different organizations, and we've been doing that for 50 odd years. We have about 10 million pounds to give out in the next 2 years, and we want to be able to continue to do that. But the system we use at the moment doesn't work, or is giving us this problem, that issues, is not serving our need at the moment. So we want to build a new system. As a business analyst, you want to find out exactly what is going on with that system. And it's not just a system. You're not just a systems analyst, you are a process analyst, because there has to be a way they onboard or they get the grants out. How do the customers apply? When they apply, what process do they go through in order to be able to review their application? What process do they go to in order to be able to get them successful in the application to be able to get money? How do we disburse money? At what point do we disburse money? What are the criteria? So those are the questions that you're asking the stakeholders of business. And to do that, you need to map out your process, those process, so that it is visual. Okay. Now, when we are analyzing business process, there are 5 things we must consider, and it's been abbreviated as SIPOC or SIPOC, SIPOC, which is suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, customers. Don't worry about this. you can research more about this, but basically what it means is that a supplier is a party that provides goods or services to the customer. Okay. Input is something that goes into the process of making a product. Process itself is a series of steps taken to create the desired result. Output is what comes out of the process. The customer receive the finished product and pay for it. Let's use an example of Next, for instance. Next supplies dresses to customers. Now that they are the supplier, they supply dresses. You go to the next store and you buy a dress as a woman, okay? They supply. Now the inputs, what inputs goes to producing that dress, to making that dress? There has to be certain things that happen from the manufacturing, during the manufacturing process to be able to get that dress into a store. So all the inputs, everything required, the resources, the materials, the data that is required, the money that is required to to create a process that goes into that process. So all the resources and materials move from inputs into that process itself. So we then have, beginning of making a dress. Maybe you buy a fabric, probably you buy a fabric and you create a pattern, and then, or maybe you design it first and then you create a pattern, and then you cut it and then you sew, and then you ship it, things like that. That is a process. What is the output? The output is a dress, and then the customer is somebody who then collects that thing. So a process follows this sequence, SIPOC, and these are the entities required to work within the process from end to end, okay? Now, why do we need business process analysis? Why is it important? It increases efficiency. It enhances customer experience. One of the case studies we're going to be looking at later is the product owner or user researcher. They've gone out to capture the experiences of customers. Using Ladder Back Down, for instance, we have customers of Ladder Back Down. We have a website. We have, I know that when we send out invites to register for a training, I see some people saying that, oh, I could not register. Or using the example of Next as well. Let's say I go on Next website. As a customer, I'm looking for a particular product. I know they have that product, but it's taking me like 10 minutes to find the product. I have to click so many buttons before I find the product that I'm looking for and then add to cart. So the product owner or UX designer or user researcher, they've gone out to capture the experiences of customers or the users. And then you come back to analyze that process so that we want to enhance customers' experience. And that is what user experience is all about. User experience is not just creating designs, prototypes, and wireframes. They are also involved in actually capturing the pain points and the customer journey. It enhances agility and adaptability. Businesses don't stay the same. If a business that refuses to change, times will change and they will get out of the race, so to say. So analyzing business process is important to be able to keep the business competitive. So you want to be able to identify processes that can be modified and redesigned so that you're able to adapt to changing market conditions, customer preferences, or any regulatory requirements. Or maybe the government comes out and say, okay, we don't want this to happen anymore. For you to do this, you must comply with certain regulations. So quickly, an organization must conduct a business process analysis. And that is why you know that when you go into when you Google career in business analysis, or no, not just career, you Google business analysis vacancies. There are so many vacancies for business analysts because companies continue to need business analysts because they continue to review their business processes, or they continue to implement one system or the other to be able to get their objectives delivered in the organization. And for that to happen, you still have to review the business process. And for the system you're bringing in, there has to be certain changes to your current business process. So that means you're scoping out a new business process model, which is going to be your to-be. So business analysts are needed. So if you're still thinking, oh, is it business analyst for it? Yes, there is a big future for business analysis career. It also helps improve decision-making. Through process analysis, organizations can gain a deeper understanding of their operations, enabling informed decision-making. For instance, in some projects that I have been on, or some of my business analysts have been on, sometimes we complete our options analysis and we feed back to the business, oh, this is what I think we should do. These are the recommendations we are giving to you. And they're like, they still cannot make up their mind. But when you show them the as is, this is the way we currently work, okay? But through this way, these are the gaps that we've identified. These are all the pain points that we've identified. These are all the challenges that customers are facing, and this has affected our data. You probably speak to your data analyst, or you go, if you're good at data analytics, you do some quick data analysis to be able to show them some data, some figures in your process. And then you show them what the to-be could look like that you've scoped out with the business, with the process owners, you've scoped out, and they see the difference of how moving to the next stage or the new target area can improve the business. It helps them to make decisions quicker, okay? Like I said, also, it also helps with compliance and mitigate against risks. So that is why business process analysis is important. What are the steps? What are the steps in business process analysis? Sorry, I am talking, I'm not used to just talking by myself. I like it to be very interactive. But all this that I'm talking about, they are just the theory, the concept. Just want to give you some conceptual background or conceptual understanding to what business process analysis is, so that when we start doing the practical, it will make sense. Is that okay? Can I still get a 111 on the chat to make sure that everybody is following me? 111 on the chat, please. Awesome. Great, great, great. If I'm moving too fast, please type it on the chat. If you have any question, type it on the chat, and I can always pause and look at that. Okay, so what are the steps in business process analysis? What do we do when we want to do it? Yeah, you're brought in to conduct business process analysis. And trust me, some business analysts are contracted just to do this activity. Not write user stories, not write any requirements, not do anything, not gather requirements or anything. Just come and improve our processes, okay? This could be, there are some jobs that are called business process analysts. This could be what you would just be doing in your day-to-day job. You can actually become an expert in business process analysis. I love this part of the job. This is my favorite part because I love making changes to things. I love improving things. I see, I'm always curious. How can we do things differently? Always curious for a change. So I love this part of the job. So it's important that you understand this, because this is the majority part or the major part of what you do as a business analyst. So what are the steps? The first thing you do is to identify the scope. I mentioned earlier about a project that I was on where they had 27 processes. Now, let's say they want to implement a particular solution. They have 27 processes, but it is not all the 27 processes that will have any touch points with that solution. So that means you will not need to go on to start analyzing all the 27 processes, because a lot of processes to do. So you need to identify the scope. What process has a touch point with this? It's different in the case of when you are implementing an ERP system, something called enterprise resource planning systems, or like a big CRM project that looks at all the processes of the organizations from beginning to the end, because it's all joined up. That is different. That will be a very large initiative to do, and there will be multiple processes. What we are doing right now, one of my BAs is, no, two of them actually, they are working on the CRM. We are trying to move from a legacy system that we use at work right now into Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics environment. So we are looking to migrate all the data from that legacy system into CRM, into Dynamics CRM. So in order to be able to get that done, we have about 140 business processes to analyze. Yeah, that's a lot of work. And they've been doing this for a while. It's all been done now. So of course, when we're doing the ASIS, everybody knows what ASIS is. So we don't do details of ASIS processes, but we do details of modeling what it will be like. So but if you're not doing like a major overhaul of all the processes from end to end, you need to identify the scope. Like I mentioned, the grant management system. What part of the business process, what part of the 140 something processes use grant management process? Yeah. So you just identify that scope and stick to that scope. Of course, it's still okay to look at what impact would it have with every other process across the organization. Once you identify that, you'll be able to know where to plug it and what to do in order to be able to make sure that nothing breaks. So identify the scope, determine the specific process or set of processes to be analyzed, and clearly define the boundaries and objectives of that analysis, okay? Once that has been done, you then understand the current state. How do you do that? Please, could you give examples of some of the processes? Yeah, one of the example could be like the one I mentioned earlier, grant management process or grant administration process or grant process. How do we, okay, let me bring it home. Let me use the common one. How does a customer order address on Next? How do we package it? How do we send it to the customer? What is the delivery process? What is the ordering process? What is the exchange and return process? Those are different examples of processes. So processes are activities we do to be able to deliver a result that we want to deliver. Another good example is wedding. There's a wedding that you are planning. What are the processes from end to end of planning a wedding, of making that wedding successful? So the first thing you do, right, maybe get activity 1, book a wedding planner. Wedding planner attends meeting. You sit down with them and then they draw up different scenarios of wedding samples or something like that, and book a hall, book a vicar, a priest, buy wedding ring. That is a list of a step-by-step thing that you do to get the result done. So that's an example, Gwen. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, please type in yes or no if it yes if it does, no if it doesn't, so I can find another example. Yeah, it does. Thank you, Gwen. All right, so how do you then understand the current state? You get the process owner. You've identified the scope of the process you want to analyze. Then get the process owners, everybody that is involved in that process, get them together, ask questions. Julia said the first thing is finding a wife. Yes, I missed that. Yeah, find a wife first before you can get married. That's a good one. Thank you. So you get them into a meeting room, whether you do it remotely or in person, you ask questions. Now, when you ask questions, you then document and map out the process in a visual way, which we're going to be doing today. After you do that, you then analyze that process, finding the gaps, what works, what doesn't work. Then you start generating improvement ideas. When you generate in the improvement ideas, that's when the to-be process happens, the target state, you map that out as well. Then you evaluate that and select solutions that can fit the need of the new process that you've mapped out. All right. Implement and monitor. Then once the process has been done, of course, it's not static. Just like I said, we things keep changing. The processes still continue to need to be reviewed. Okay. So those are the steps in business process analysis. Fidelia, you have your hand up. Fidelia, did you have?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear now.
Yeah, you mentioned that the to-be process, that after you get the current as is process, then you start mapping out the to-be process, suggesting solutions.
Yeah.
Can you also ask the clients in the meeting what they're expecting? How am I going to say it? What they're expecting their to-be process to be?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good question. Business analysts are just enablers. We are facilitators. We are not the one giving them their to-be.
Okay.
They own the process. What we do is just ask questions.
Okay.
And we challenge some of their answers.
Okay.
When we challenge, challenging doesn't mean we are telling them, no, that's stupid, that's wrong. No, you can't do it that way. We challenge by asking questions. Oh, if we do it that way, what do you think would happen?
Okay.
So that we get them to start thinking about, that's true. Maybe we should do it the other way.
Okay.
So we just facilitate the process, but they come up with their own solutions.
Okay.
They
Fantastic.
generate ideas. I am a big lover of Miro or mural board. What I do is I get them onto Miro and we start my mind mapping or brainstorming. Okay. When we are scoping out to be processes, we are allowed to make mistakes. And what I tell them is, if there is no limitation to what technology can do,
Okay.
what would you like? How would you like this to work for you in the future?
Okay.
Feel free to dream away. So I give them wish list, opportunity to dream. Because when I do that, it allows them to be creative and start thinking about different things. At that point, we are not thinking about what technology can do or not. That is not the time for technical feasibility. This is where we begin to explore ideas. Now, when we come up with a draft of to be, then we get the technical team involved. Okay, now this is what we are thinking. What do you think? Oh, that one is Treasure, you and your dream. No, that's not going to happen. Then we start tweaking things. And then I go back to the business, we play it back to them. So any new process that involves technology, you do it together with the business and with the technical team. So you're like back and forth until we'll all agree about what our next to be will be. So yeah, does that answer the question? Yeah, great. If I want to ask, do BA give vital solutions for business problems, or they identify? Yeah, we can give guidance. We don't tell them what to do. We give recommendations. Okay, we recommend based on what we see, and that is why it's important to do your research as well, because they are in their organization. They may not see what other organizations are doing. And that is the joy of being a contractor as a BA, because you do 6 months here, 6 months there, 3 months here, 12 months there. You work across so many sectors. You see how other organizations are doing stuff. So when I'm doing a process analysis with them and we are brainstorming, I'm brainstorming with them as well. In my other life, in my previous life, I did something similar for, I don't mention the organization, and this is how they do it. What do you think about that? Even if you have not done it for any other organization, but you're thinking about, you can just say, okay, I'm just going to be talking now. You are the expert in your process. I'm just going to be talking now from the perspective of a customer. Put yourself in the place of a customer. For instance, we are working with Next and they are reviewing their process. Maybe you've purchased something from Next before, so you're a customer. So I'll just say, okay, from the perspective of a customer, as a customer, I would really like to have this. I would really like to see this happen if possible. What do you think? Your customers, what do you think they might want that? We haven't thought about this. It could be something that becomes another scope, which is then added to get the product owner to start going out to find out more information from the customers. Remember, product owners are voices of the customer. They speak on behalf of the customers, yeah, or user researcher or any market research, whatever it is that they have in the organization to explore. So these are the steps in summary of how you conduct business process analysis. I know I've not gone that deep into it, yeah, because it's a lot. We begin to open each of these steps and elaborate further, but that just gives you a broad idea of the steps required. Does you have your hand up? Does? We can hear you. Okay, we can hear you now.
Yes. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to be clear on something. How do you, are there any tips you use in identifying the scope?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Are there any tips you use in identifying the scope?
Okay.
What do you look out for?
Okay, when identifying the scope of what kind of process to review.
Yes, that's my point.
Okay, you don't do it by yourself. Hopefully, there should be a project manager on that project. Yeah, or if there's no project manager, if you're going to be working closely with the process owner or one of the business owner, one of the leaders or directors or managers, you have an SME, a subject matter expert. You can't do it by yourself. So they will be helping you to know the scope of the processes. For instance, the example of the grant management. Sorry, I keep mentioning that. I just finished implementing a project for that. So
Okay.
Let's say the grant management, you're brought in, okay, want to get in a new grant management system. Oh, brilliant. What departments do grant management? What the SME gives you a broad, like, oh, this is what we do. We advertise when we have any grant. We advertise on social media, and we ask the digital team to design flyers for us. So once they say that we ask the digital team to design flyer for us, that means digital team as a touch point. So that digital team is part of that process. So you note that down. So when you note down every touch point that they mention, that helps you to, okay, now in what we are reviewing, do you want us to also review how marketing of that grant is done? If they say, no, they have their own thing, they don't want to change their own. So that means you're removing that from your own scope. So it could just be the scope of the minute the customer applies, they go on the website, click on that link for the grant and apply and complete application. That is where we want the scope of review to start from. So they will be the one to guide you in identifying the scope. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Morenica said, I actually thought the mapping, the to-be process comes after generating improvement of the, oh, yes, you're right. You're right. You don't map out the to-be process before generating ideas. You generate ideas and then you map out the idea. That's what, yeah, that is a sequence to it. Also, you can map a to-be process, map a draft process, and then sit down with them to run through your own understanding of where they are going, because they will have some idea of where they are going. And then you can start tweaking things, okay, to be able to improve those ideas. Yeah. Fidelia, question? Yes, Sarah, you're going to get the recording. Okay, all right, let's move forward swiftly because of our time. So we've talked about process analysis. Now let's not talk about process mapping. This is why we are here, process mapping. Process mapping is a technique used to visualize and understand workflows, enabling organizations to identify inefficiencies and improve overall productivity. Everything we've talked about, process analysis, we bring it to life by mapping it out in a visual way. You know, our processes are, you know, in the organization where you work right now, you want to book an annual leave. I'm sure they have a process for booking annual leave. You want to apply for maternity leave, they have a process. So you understand what the process is. Everybody seems to understand what the process is, but it's invisible. Everybody knows it's become a tacit knowledge. It's something you know, but not every process is actually documented, but we know it anyway. This is what we do. For instance, let's bring it home. You want to bake cake. Your son is having their birthday on Saturday or something, next week Saturday, and you want to bake cake. What is the process of baking a cake? You know it. If you don't, like me, you probably go on YouTube to watch a video and then follow the YouTube. That's part of the process. I'll put it in my own process map. Click YouTube, search how to bake cake. Step 2. 3, go and buy ingredients. 3, prepare ingredients. 4, prepare ingredients. 5, put in oven, add sugar, add whatever it is they add. Check if it's done. Decorate cake. That is a process. But we all do processes, but it's invisible. Process mapping makes it visible. It brings it live. I can't count how many times I've conducted process mapping and show a process map. And these guys are like, oh, we really do that? Oh, why do we need to do that? And they start asking themselves questions because when they see the map and they begin to identify, why do we need 5 different people to approve something before we move to the next level? No wonder our customers are complaining that this is wasting time. It is because you have mapped it out for them to see. So it's a technique that is used to visualize and bring their processes to make it real to them so that they can easily identify. So why process mapping is visual? It helps stakeholders understand complex processes more easily. It identifies bottlenecks, pinpoints areas of delay or inefficiency, streamlines processes, allows for optimization and waste reduction. And because you can see it, you can start moving things around and changing and identifying gaps and changing things in the process. Now, this is an example of a process flow. You at yoga, yeah, you haven't done it before. The first thing you do, what is triggered, the process is triggered by you going to a yoga room, yeah, maybe at work or something. The first thing you do, you get a mat, and then you look around and see what everybody is doing because you're not sure what to do. Then you see somebody bending and twisting and doing all those maneuvers on the floor, and you ask yourself, that's a decision. Am I that flexible? If yes, yeah, you can also do that. Then if yes, become a human pretzel and do what they are doing, twist and curl. But if you are not that flexible, if it's a no, you just stick with your own fetal position, the position that you're comfortable with. And then while you're there, you decide you want to, you take a nap, and then you take a nap, you say namaste, and you finish. This is just a funny thing that I saw on the internet of a simple process flow. But that gives you a summary of BPMN, all the symbols and notations used from end to end. Activity, activity, a gateway decision, activity, activity, gateway decision, activity, activity, end. Okay, this is another example. These are 4 lanes of a process, meaning 4 different functional area. We have the customer here, we have the driver, we have chef, we have cashier. So the event is triggered by a customer who is hungry and decides to call the Chinese restaurant. Now, they ask for wait time. Hello, Chinese restaurant, I'd like to make order. How long does it take to get it delivered? Yeah, the cashier gives waiting time. It's 10 minutes. Oh, 10 minutes. This is a gateway, again, decision. Is 10 minutes too long? If it's a yes, sorry, I'm not making the order anymore. You end the process there. Oh, no, that's fine. Then you place the order. And then you speak to the cashier, they process the order, and then they send the order to the kitchen, to the chef. The chef makes the food. The chef packages the food and call the driver. The driver picks up the food and delivers the food. They take it to the customer collect the food, customer pay for food, driver collects money, and for the driver, the event ends there. For the customer, they eat the food and it ends there. So these are all simple processes. And again, using the BPMN, the notation that is used to represent it, which we'll talk about shortly. Let's go to the question. How far are you from high-level process flow without decision notations? From process map with all the decision, but I want the high level where you can get to the nitty-gritty immediately. I don't understand that question. Do we actually ask for wait time when ordering Chinese, or just make another? Well, that's just an example, Gray. Gwen, you will get a copy of the recording, but not the slide. The slide is my tool, sorry, but you get the recording. All right. So tips for effective process mapping: determine the scope of the process, like I mentioned earlier. If you're conducting the process analysis in the office where everybody is present, find enough space, because you may get a lot of post-it notes and flip charts, so that everybody has a space to walk around the room and start putting the post-it note across the wall. But a lot of jobs right now, they are remote or with hybrid. So that's why we need certain tools that help us to be able to do our process mapping effectively. And one of those tools for collaboration is Miro that I talked about earlier, because people get to do it together. They tend to collaborate and move post-it notes again remotely online. I thought process map begins with a start and finishes with an end. Yes, it does. It does. If we go back to the previous slide, that is a start. That's the BPMN start, the green one here. The one with a thick border is an end. Yeah, it starts here by them calling the Chinese restaurant. It ends here by them eating Chinese food. Yeah, so it has a beginning and an end. Okay, determine the functional areas and involve all the key stakeholders and process owners from each area that share the process. Keep process maps simple and easy to understand. Use software tools for creating and sharing process maps. Now that takes us to the tools. Any question before we start looking at the diagramming tool? I'm mindful of our time. Sometimes I could get really lost in this, that. Yeah, okay, we still have. That was fast. Okay. Kenny, do you want to come on the mic and ask the question, please? I don't understand what the question was.
All right, thank you very much for that. So the question is very simple. So I am in a situation at the moment, and I wanted to understand exactly what I'm doing. I'm not a BA by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an AWS solutions architect, but I found myself working for this small boutique consulting company where everybody gets involved in everything. And so what I'm tasked to do the last week is to review the process map that's been drawn before I got there of a county that's trying to transform or digitalize their court system. Now, all these processes have been drawn up. The notations used is just boxes from one place to the next. You do this, and then you move to the next stage, you move to the next stage. And so what I want to understand is that, so this first stage of the process map that's been drawn, there are no decision boxes. There are no diamonds or anything. They're just triangles. Yeah. And nothing more than that. Is the reason why they've done it like that, or is that the way it is done as the first stage of the process? And then down once the client agrees that, okay, yes, this is our current state, this is how we actually work. And so therefore, and because this is how we work, what changes can you then make to make us look better or work better? And consequently, you as the consultant then goes away and start to drill down. Okay.
Very good question. I am bold to say that the person that did the process map for you, they did it wrong because they used the wrong notations. there are two different types of notations we can use. There is the BPMN, which is what we're going to be looking at now, or there is the normal flowchart notations. In the normal flowchart notation, even it has gateway and decisions. And the reason why it is important to use the right notation is so that anybody that picks up your process map understand exactly what it is. Because if it's just a boxes, rectangular box or triangular boxes, no, rectangle, yeah, boxes, it doesn't show anything, especially if it's not clear. BPMN is an industry standard notation for mapping our processes all over the world. And it has to, where I work at the moment, before I joined the organization, they were using PowerPoints or Word documents to map out their processes. When I got there, I saw the processes that the BAs have mapped out, and I raised a business case. We are not using the right tool here. So every BA now has a license for Visio. And that is where you can add value. Let them know that this was not done correctly. And unless it's clear, where they have put the boxes and the rectangle, if they say, is this accurate? If it's a yes or no, if they type it, is this accurate? Then you know that you just remove it from that box and put a triangle, because anywhere where you get to and you have to make either a decision or you do a yes or no or true or false, you have to split it with a gateway symbol. It's just like writing code. When a programmer is writing code, they get to a point where they begin to, where they fork it out as well. It's called fork and join. Where they fork it out, if A equals B, then C. But if they don't write if A equals, do you think the thing will work when they run that program? It will not, because there is a systematic approach to conducting this thing. So that is why we have to use a right tool. Even if you're using PowerPoint, on PowerPoint you can also find, it may not necessarily be BPMN, but you can find the flowchart symbols that you can use. And every decision or gateway or questions must be represented by a gateway symbol, which is a diamond. Yeah. So what I would do if I were you is, if possible, change their process map and just present in the I think, in the best way that you can. Yeah, and that is where you add value. Okay. Yeah, thanks for that question. Very useful. All right, so let's look at BPMN. It's a diagramming technique, diagramming modeling language used in business analysis to specify business process workflow. Actually, to go back to Kenny, tell them to employ a business analyst to do all this for them. I know a lot of organizations want to save and then get the solution architect to do what BA does, and also get BA to do what solution architects do. But I think it's important that, they get in some support. Yes, Jim, or Lucidchart have it as, very, in fact, I actually like process mapping on Lucidchart than on Visio. Anyway, so BPMN is a standardized diagramming program modeling language used in business analysis to specify business process workflows. Is an industry standard notation, readily understandable by everyone all over the world. Every business analyst that see will be able to know what it means. Captures and documents business processes in a clear and consistent way that ensures clarity, provides comprehensive and yet rich notations that can easily be understood by both technical and non-technical stakeholders. It bridges the communication gap. If I'm not there, when anybody picks up my process map, they know exactly what it means. So I don't need to be there to walk them through it, because they get it, it's very clear. And that's what BPMN does. All right, so there are different shapes. What is the difference between solution architect and business analyst, Timmy? Okay, Timmy, we can't go into that right now. Yeah, we cannot go into that right now. But yeah, I would say that we Google or research that for that. Or you can, if you're on the group, if you're on the ladder back down group, find me and then we can have a chat later, yeah? All right, so yeah, Gwen, out of scope. Thank you. All right, let's look at the BPMN shapes. The first shape is the circle. Circle with a thin line indicates start. If we are using the user at the flow chart is like an oval shape or something. It's like an oval shape, like long oval shape. But with BPMN, it always starts with circle. Thin line is a start. The thicker border indicates an end. Yeah, so thin and thick border for start and end. Then we have the rectangle box. This is the activity box. This represents activity. And anything you write inside the activity must always be written with the format verb noun. Verb noun. They should be labeled verb noun. For instance, generate invoice, submit document, make payment. You don't write sentence in that. Yeah, it must be verb noun. It could be make a payment or generate invoice from something, but it must be verb noun. Gateway, they are split and rejoin or splits and merges process flows. They are represented by diamond shape and may contain icons to indicate the conditions for splitting and rejoining, which was what I explained for that. And then we have the connectors. We have the unbroken arrow, which moves one activity to the next activity or one notation to the next notation. And then we have the broken arrow, which indicates messages or communications. For instance, if they say call customer, when you write call customer in this activity box, the next thing to say picks up the phone or something to respond to call will be, because it's messages sent or send an email, is used by this. Yeah, it is not a process handoff. It is message. Then we have this one as well, which shows association. If you want to make a note to a particular activity, you associate it with this line, okay? Then we also have the swim lane. Now, the swim lane, if you have been to a pool, I know a lot of us would have been to a pool. In a pool, when you walk the Olympic swimming competition, for instance, you see different lanes within the pool. They are called swim lane. Now, this one is used to divide functional areas. For instance, the first lane could be customer lane. The second lane will be admin lane. So it separates different functional area so that you can know what activities are done by the customers and what activities are done by the admin. So every BPMN program diagram must contain at least one pool. If you're just doing a process map of just one functional area, I call it an activity diagram. Yeah. Because every process would one way or the other have handoffs with another person. Is there a cheat sheet for activities words? A cheat sheet that has full of, not necessarily. It's what you put in there is that are the things that your process owners are saying. Oh, I then generate invoice. When I generate invoice, I call the customer. So generate invoice, call customers. You generate those verb noun by yourself by the time you are having the conversation with the process owners. What does BPMN stand for? It stands for Business Process Model and Notation. Business Process Model and Notation. And then we have other artifacts such as data, anything you want to put that represents a data, submit data, enter username, password, that is represented by this symbol, that is a data. And if you want to represent a database, this is a database, a storage of data, okay? That is represented by that one. Another tip, verb plus object made payment. Like I said, keep the direction of your flow consistent. Make sure your connectors never cross over the top of each other. Include separate and events for distinct end states. Practice version control. If you have a draft, screen stopped. Okay. Can everybody else see my screen? Ellen says she can't see mine. Oh, okay. So, all right. So practice version control. If you have the first draft of your Aziz process map and you send it for validation, or you do a walkthrough with your business, with a business, and you make any change, don't override the changes with the previous document. Save it as version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so that you can always revert back to the first and make any correct changes if you need it. So practice version control. And yeah, other gateway variations for the decisions, this you don't necessarily need to do, but if you want to really, if you work in a very strict, controlled environment where every T must be crossed, every I must be dotted, then you want to make variations to your decisions, to diamond shapes, the gateway. Gwen, yes, you can ask a question. Hi, Gwen.
Hi there.
Yeah, go on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I was struggling to unmute myself. I had to go through the process. Okay, so just a question. I'm not sure if it's there's something that I've seen, but I didn't see you use the example here. So with regards to the swim lane, or the pool, I can see that there is you mentioned that it's divided into swim lanes that are somehow connected, but then I've seen in real life, I've seen in the same like there will be a separate pool and there will be an activity that will be connected to that one, but it's separate. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes,
and I wanted to know when does that happen? Because I understand that there is a reason why they're separate, and then there's a reason why some of them are actually together. So
yes.
I wanted you to shed some light on that, please.
Thank you. Good question. Yeah, if I go back to the second example we showed, can you see these 4 swim lanes? This one is separate.
Oh, yes, this is a perfect example. Yes.
Yeah, this one is separate from the 3. Now, the customer is an external person, and the other lanes are within the organization. Chinese restaurants, pool area, and then we have the customer pool area. This is not a must. It's not compulsory to separate it. You can still join it up as long as it's very clear what the customer is doing. But some school of thought says separate the external lane from the organization so that you can identify them as external. It's not a process for the organization. It's just what the customer does. We don't have any control over what they do, right? It's what the customer does. That's why it's separate from the lane. But I've done my process maps to join up everything as long as they have a distinct activity that they do within here. And yeah, what connects them, because with this process is a call, they make telephone call, and that's why we see this broken message line connecting.
Yeah.
Call, and then the cashier picks up the call. You know, if we're going to re-engineer this process, for instance, and make it, okay, we want them to be able to order food online. Now, this may not be there anymore. Customer goes to our website because our website is now us. They are not interacting with us. So they go to our website, order, submit order, then we pick the order, you know, something like that. But yes, that's to answer the question. You can separate it from the external to internal processes, or you can make it together. It's not, there's no, it's not compulsory.
Okay, and just to verify, the broken lines are just a way to connect from internal to external. And the thinner one, Yeah.
BPMN
And the
is-
thinner ones show association, you said.
Yes. The
Great,
broken,
thank you so much.
the broken arrow are messages, communications. Yeah, communication flow, send email, make call. Those are communications flow. The thick line, this one, it shows connection from one activity to the next, activity to the next, activity to the next. Yeah, does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so the reason why I'm really spending time on this is because for the project that's going to be happening, that's going on with Ladder Back Down, you will need to do this. Okay. You will need to do this. That's why I'm spending time for us to really understand it. Fidelia, your hand is still up. Fidelia?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, I couldn't unmute before. I was struggling to unmute. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was gonna ask, the former lady was saying, I noticed the swim lanes. The second lane, you put the name of the organization.
Yeah.
Is that necessary, or is that like what they call it, good practice to do that? Because the former other diagrams I've seen is just on the swim lanes, they just put the name of the systems or the departments that are interacting with each other, not necessarily the name of the organization, like Chinese restaurants.
No, this is just an example.
Okay.
And it's just to demonstrate the different, because it's split. So this shows swim lane for the external entity, and this shows the swim lane for the process within the Chinese restaurant. So definitely not, you don't have to separate it.
Okay.
Another example is, let's say, for instance, there is, I shouldn't use this example, actually, it's confidential. All right, let's say NHS. NHS has a relationship with NHS professional, right? NHS professionals send doctors and nurses to NHS Trust, right? So NHS professional is a separate organization. NHS is a separate organization. If you want to put a process that connects the two of them, you may want to say NHS professional here and NHS here and separate them. So that, because for instance, let's say NHS professional has their own admin, NHS also has their own admin, and they have to touch. So you know that you are referring to admin in NHS. To admin in NHS profession. So if you are doing combined processes of two organizations where they touch, do that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Taya, your hand is up. After Taya, please, I will pause the question so that we can really. Taya.
Sorry, I was waiting to be given permission to unmute. Okay, so with regards to the call Chinese restaurant, the connector, since you said that the connector is a message or information, shouldn't we have a connector showing from the call Chinese restaurant all the way to answer phone? So where you had the connector showing request waiting time, should we or could we have a connector on call Chinese restaurant that goes all the way to answer phone?
Tayo, can I ask a question? Are you a business analyst?
Yes, a junior, very junior one.
You would make a very good senior business analyst. Yeah, that's a very, very good eye for detail. Thank you. Yes, it should. It should be from call Chinese restaurant. The broken line here will go to answer phone. But then when it does, you have to send that line back to request wait time. So the reason why I removed that was it will be clunky. So if I have call Chinese restaurant, answer phone, because when I call, I request. So it goes there, call hello Chinese restaurant, what is the waiting time for ordering food? So the message goes and it gives them. That's why I have those two ones here. But definitely you can have the arrow here, call Chinese restaurant, and then take it back to request wait time, and then take it down back to give wait time, and then take it back down. So you have 4 instead of 2. But I just wanted to make it simpler or leaner. That's why I didn't have those 2 ones here, but that's very good. Yeah, good eye for detail. Thank you. Yes, okay, great. All right, let's quickly look at the different kind of gateway. I'll rush through this one because of our time, because I want us to do one practical example before we go on break. So, okay, we'll go on break first before we do the example. All right, the different types of gateway. The first one is called the exclusive gateway, and it's represented by a cross in the middle, like X in the middle, and which this one symbolizes and or. An example of this is, this is a start, submit invoice. When you submit invoice, if the invoice is greater than 20,000, the CEO must approve it. Or if the invoice is greater than £2,000, the finance director must approve it. Or if the invoice is not up to 2,000, every other invoice, the manager approve it. Okay, so is an or gateway. Yeah, they are telling you, okay, once the supplier submits the invoice, we need approval, and there are 3 types of approval. Oh, okay, what are the types of approval? Yeah, if the invoice is less than £2,000, the manager will just need to approve it. Oh, okay, brilliant. So that's the manager. But if the invoice is greater than £2,000, it has to be approved by the finance director. And then if the invoice is greater than £20,000, it's not just that, it's not finance director, the CFO must approve it. So that means there is a decision or a gateway there, and you have to document that to show the process, okay? So this will choose one sequence flow based on the value of a property, invoice amount. Only 2 flows have conditions on them going to CFO approval. The last sequence has no condition and will be selected by default if the other conditional flows evaluate to false, yeah? Invoice less than, yeah, you got it. Okay, yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right. There's no condition for manager. The only condition is any invoice that is not up to 2,000, manager will approve. Does that make sense, Ron? Or is that less? Is that less or greater? This is greater than, not less. Bukalami, that's greater than, right? Or am I wrong? Okay, good. All right. So that is XOR. And then we have the inclusive gateway. Inclusive gateway is you either this or both. Yeah. For instance, you buy a car. You can decide the cleaning is needed and repairs are needed. So if cleaning is needed, clean the car. If repairs are needed, repair the car. If both are needed, do both. Clean the car and repair the car. Yeah, and then you close back the separator and drive the car. So this is just inclusive, is one or more of the available paths will be taken. They could all be taken or only one of them could be taken, okay? Like I said, I don't really use this in my process mapping because it's too detailed. I don't use it. So, but it's just to understand that there are different gateway types, which you will see on Lucidchart when we are looking at it. And then there's a parallel gateway. This one, both must happen. If one happens before the other, the process stops until the second one happens, okay? So author standard operating procedure, okay? Author it, write it. When you write it, it goes through manufacturing review and it has to go through documentation review. So it's symbolized with a plus. So when you write it, the manufacturing review happens. After that is, let's say Sally will have to do the manufacturing review, but the documentation review has not been done yet, so it stops. Both have to be done before the quality assurance review is approved, okay? and that is parallel gateway. Both must happen, is a must. If one doesn't happen, the process is like, for instance, we can't submit for quality assurance because John has not signed it yet. Sally has, but John has not. So that's parallel gateway, all right? So those are the different ones. Any question? So that we take, what's the time? We take 10 minutes break.
So thank you everyone once again for joining us today. And the presenter for today's event, which has been very engaging, very interactive so far, and there's a lot more to come. But our presenter is actually Treasure Sabs. That is Treasure Sabs, that is her name. And she is the CEO of her own company, IntellBA. And you can find details of her company on intellba.co.uk. She is a trusted and very experienced CEO of the company. She's a senior BA in the UK, and she's also a program director on the Ladder Back Down website development project. So she's very experienced, and we have enjoyed the first session, the first half of this session today. And I hope that you continue to engage with her, both in her private capacity, in her paid capacity as the CEO of intellba.co.uk, and in this workshop as we continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Right. Okay. Yeah, I know that we've been having issues with cursor. I'm trying to give me 2 minutes. Let me quickly see if I can quickly fix that. So if I unshare.
The question I asked earlier was about like you know, when we either on Miro or Draw.io or Visio, when we are using like the BPMN and the subtask, should I call it icon, or yes, that one that we can use to, we can create like a different, we'll have like a different process in a different like like a different process, but we're linking it to a particular process on the process map. So I'm just saying, can we add the same thing for, this is gateway. So I don't know if it's possible to have like the same, linking a different decision from a totally different, well, not totally different, but from a different process to a decision in our current process.
Okay. All right. Great question. Yeah, just like I was saying earlier, when, like, you know, I mentioned that we have in one organization that I worked at, in a department, they have 27 processes. Let's say that those processes link one way or the other, but they are processes on its own. They're individual processes on its own. This is submit invoice, right? This is what I do, submit invoice. Now, when I submit invoice, there's a gateway here, and whatever I will do next will be determined by certain conditions. For instance, if the invoice I'm submitting is greater than £20,000, this one says get CEO approval. So CEO will approve. But let's assume that the approval itself is a process on its own. For instance, for the CFO to approve, if there's any particular process, for instance, book appointment for approval, documents in a particular format, download particular resources, then upload into the system where the CFO will approve. That means is a separate process on its own. So what I'll do right there, because that means there's a process that is embedded in another process. This is a process that I'm working on at the moment, yeah? But then, because it's greater than 20,000, I have to go to another process. So rather than breaking it out here and then writing all this new process within this process so that it prevents it from being too long, I can then put a plus. The sub-process icon is rectangle plus. So when you see rectangle plus, it shows that there's a process embedded within that. But before I can do anything, I can write CFO approval process here, and then using the sub-process notation. But then I'll have to go and create that process somewhere else, so that when I click that plus button, it takes me directly into that CFO approval process. We'll demo it in Lucidchart so that I can show you what it looks like. But definitely you can embed another sub-process into a process so that you don't end up having multiple processes on one single process, which can be really confusing. Does that help? But we'll look at the practical example on Lucidchart, yeah? Okay, great. Do you have a link for Lucidchart for us? Okay, it's yeah, we are going to go into Lucidchart now, and I will show us what we are going to be doing. So let's do some diagramming. No, right, okay. Let me come out of this, stop sharing. Lucidchart. Lucidchart. So if you go on your browser, I'm on my browser at the moment, so I will go to, you can just Google Lucidchart, right? Lucidchart, but I can send you the right login. So if you Google Lucidchart, can you see my screen? If you Google Lucidchart, it's going to come up something like this. And then the first one that comes up says Lucidchart official site. So if you click on that, it brings you here. If you have not signed up, please, you will need to quickly sign up, but you can do that later. Just look at the screen, what I'm doing right now, okay? But I've signed up, so you log in. Like I said, this gives you a lifetime access is free for life. So this is where it takes you to. So lucidchart.com would be the link. I think so, yeah, lucidchart.com, lucidchart.com. Yeah, that's it. So I'll put that on the chat. Okay. So when you get to Lucidchart, you log in. It will probably bring you to somewhere like this if you're logging in for this first time. And I intentionally signed up for this one last night so that you will see exactly what I'm saying. Okay, I didn't want to show you the one that I had before. Yeah, I put a link on the chat. Great. Oh, sorry. I put the link directly to someone else. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I've put a link on the chat now, if you can see it. All right, so it's going to bring you here. Now, what you want to do is click on new. The good thing about Lucidchart is it comes with so many templates, so many templates. If you click on new, it will ask you, is it Lucidchart you want, Lucidspark or Lucid? They have, those are their different products, but the one you want is Lucidchart. And then you can decide to create from templates or blank documents. I'll show you what it looks like in template, but I don't like to use templates because processes are different. You can't really use one template to do a new process. You will eventually delete every activity in there anyway. So but I want to show you what it looks like in template. So it brings you here. You can see recommended categories, BPMN diagrams, swim lane diagrams, flowcharts. If I show you flowchart quickly and just select an example, or let's select this example, use template. Okay, you know, when I was showing you the notation for BPMN, it says that it starts a circle. In a basic flow chart, yeah, you will see this on Miro, on Visio, you will see it on Miro, you will see it on PowerPoint. This is a notation for ordinary flow chart, okay? For BPMN is different. Like these are the storage for all the different notations. So to use that, so the beginning is a start, which also the title says terminator, but is a start. So you just click on it and drag, okay? And that is how you start using the flow chart. But that is not what we are using. So I'm going to go back and let me come out of this one. Oh, this, sorry, if some people are in the waiting list, it's actually, okay. So if I go back to new and Lucidchart, start diagramming, I want you to give me a blank canvas. Now we have a blank canvas here. I want to name the document. So the document, the case study we're working on is called Corner Deli case study. And I'm going to walk you through the project brief for that. So that's Corner Deli, I do done. Now it saved it as Corner Deli. Again, it's showing, because that is the template that I used previously, is showing flowchart. But I don't want to use flowchart, I want to use BPMN because that is the standard that we want to follow. So if I close that, I close shapes, the one that I don't need. Now you can go to search, and we want to search for BPMN, and this is you starting from scratch, you know, from blank. So click on search and type BPMN. What's going on? Yeah, BPMN 2.0. There's a slight delay on my, what's going on? My screen is frozen. Sorry. My screen is frozen. Bear with me a second, please. I'm just trying to close some other documents. Let's quit Safari. Right. Let's open that back up again. Okay. Apologies for that, guys. Okay. So we are on a blank canvas, so I want to search for BPMN. So click on search there and then type BPMN 2.0. Once you click on that, it gives you all the notations you need. Can you see them on the left-hand side right here? Yeah? Jumoke, your hand is up. Have you got any question? Okay, so it shows you all the notations for BPMN at the left-hand side here. We talked about the swim lane, which is a pool. To use any of this notation, just click on it, hold it down, and drag it to the canvas. Okay? So you drag it to the canvas, and then you rename all the entities there. So this one is, the example we're going to be looking at is ordering system. So to change anything, just double click on that and then type ordering system. Yeah, something like that. And then the lane here, the first lane is that of a customer. Just double click on that and type customer. And the second lane could be a receptionist. Yes, right, receptionist, or let's say a waiter, depending on who you're going to be interacting with. But let's stop at that. But this is just an example of how to drag a swim lane, the pool, because this is what you need to actually start mapping out your process. Okay. Now, as you can see, I'm not separating the external from the internal. I just want to keep it simple for now. Like I said, it's not like a must that you must separate it. As long as it's clear who owns each lane, it's okay. All right. To start, we said this is this circle is to start. That's what triggers it. So that says event, but when you drag it, I usually say start. I change that to start. Something is wrong with my, okay. I want to change that to start. Okay, so that is start. Now, the next one is activity, which is the task rectangle. Hold it down and bring it in, okay, and drop it. Then the next will be, it could be prepare slide. We haven't started looking at the case study. I'm just for you to see how to navigate all the notations. Now, this is a start. This is the first task. You want to connect this to this. When you hover on top of one notation, you will see this red symbol popping up. So just click on one of them and drag to connect to where you want to connect to, and that connects it, okay? Another simpler way, which makes it faster, is when you've already entered the task here and you want to create the next one, you can just drag and then it will open up what you want to do and then click the next one. Again, drag, click the next one. Again, drag, click the next one, okay? Possibly this might be, okay. We want you to move to the next, to this one. So we drag down to the next handoff, which is a waiter, and then the waiter does something, and then the waiter does another thing. Click and select the next one, and then we click and select the next one. It's come out of the pool. So what you can do is just click on the edge of that pool to drag it forward, okay, until you come to the end of that. Now, I wanted to show us how to represent this by another sub-process. Let's say this is a sub-process that we talked about earlier. If I delete that, if you go back to the storage, you'll see a sub-process. Sub-process, okay, let's clean that. It's not giving me the one I need for sub-process. Let's search for flowchart. Okay, can you see this one? This is actually, this is for flowchart. Let's go back to what we're using. Yeah. So if we use similar one, let's bring it in here and then connect. But this is a sub process. If you click on this and you right click on it, you can change to events. You click on activity and you can change to event sub-process, yeah, and that it actually, I wanted it to give me a plus, but it's giving me that, but as long as it's showing as event sub-process. Oh, right, okay. Let's undo that. I found what I need. Okay, so right click on that and then go to activity marker and you see the sub-process here. Yeah, can you see that plus sign? So it shows that there's another process embedded within that. Now, this process, okay, let's end this particular one and put final. So that ends the process, okay? But we want to be able to, link this to the activities in this sub-process. So what you're going to do is you will go down at the bottom here where you see pages. This is page 1. There's another button here. You click add page and you put plus. So let's say the first page is ordering system. Okay, ordering process, sorry. Rename ordering process. And then page 2 could be, what can we call the second process? Could be complaint process. Complaint process. All right. So in the ordering process, we say that if we put this one to the customer, deliver food, for instance. Customer is not happy with the food. We want to find out satisfied. Yeah, that is the question. Customer is not satisfied. So make complaints. Okay. Now the make complaints lead us to complaint process. Yeah. So that leads us to that. So that is complaint process. Then we have to then create the complaint process here. What is it about the complaint process? So I'm going to copy all this and duplicate here in the complaint process and change that to complaint process. Okay. But again, it's a continuation. So what we have, oh, what have I done? Deleted everything. So it could be that the process is when a customer wants to complain, send an email, send a complaint email. Yeah. Assign a case number to complaint. Deal with complaint. And process ends. Or it could go on and on to say customer refuses, customer is still not happy. Do you want to check whether they're happy? Yes, no. If happy, end process. If not happy, refer to something, depending on the organization process, okay? So this ends the process. All right, so to link this sub-process, what we do is you click on the sub-process here, right click, and then you add link. Add action page. And then you select the page you want to link to, complaint process. Okay. Now, if you want to play this back, present document. So when you are playing this back to the business, or the customer start by prepare style slide, deduce tax next task, next now you go there. So the reception is deliver food. Is customer happy? They're not happy. If they're not happy, so this is they're not happy, they make complaints, and then that would then take us to the complaint process. But how do we go to the complaint process? You just click on that plus button and it takes you to the complaint process. Does that make sense? This is way out of the case study, but I just wanted to show us how linking sub-processes work. Yeah? Nana Aisha? Yeah, I know we spent some time looking at that example. Yeah? Please unmute. Okay. All right. Let's go to our case study, and I'm going to delete that. So our case study is case study 1. Now, this is bringing process analysis into real life situation. Corner Deli is a privately owned restaurant based in Manchester, and business has been slowing down lately, resulting in income loss due to long customer waiting time and limited food ordering options. The current process, the customer begins their food ordering process by visiting a restaurant's location or calling the establishments. However, they discover that the restaurant only accepts orders in person or over the phone, limiting their convenience and forcing them to rely on manual methods. Upon contacting the restaurant, the customer finds that the menu information provided is incomplete or outdated. They struggle to obtain detailed descriptions, ingredients, or pricing of the available food items. This lack of comprehensive menu information leads to confusion and uncertainty during the ordering process. If the customer chooses to place their order over the phone, they experience long waiting times due to limited staff availability or high volume of calls. This delay frustrates the customer and increases the overall time required to complete the order. During the phone order process, there is a higher likelihood of miscommunication between the customer and the restaurant staff. The lack of a clear and standardized order taking process may result in errors or misunderstandings, leading to incorrect orders being prepared or items missing from the final delivery. The restaurant offers limited payment options, such as cash on delivery or in-person card payments only. The lack of flexibility in payment methods restricts customer convenience, especially for those who prefer digital payment options or prefer to pay in advance. After receiving the customer's order, the restaurant manually processes it, including writing down the order details, manually preparing the order, and recording payment information. If the customer opts for delivery, they receive vague or uncertain delivery timeframes. The customer has no means of tracking the status of their orders or knowing its progress. They are left unaware of when the food is being delivered, when it is out for delivery, or its estimated arrival time. In the event of an issue or inquiry, the customer encounters difficulties reaching customer support. After receiving the order, customer has no formal feedback mechanism to provide their comments or suggestions. So the absence of the feedback loop prevents the restaurant from gathering valuable insights to improve their processes and enhance the overall customer experience. So the task here, Joe is the business analyst. Joe has been tasked to identify challenges and customers' pain points, review the current process, and scope out a desired future state process for the implementation of an online food ordering solution. deliverables out of this will be the current state process map and the target state process model. And we are using Lucidchart for it. What do you think the pain points are for the customers of Corner Deli restaurant, or what are they trying to achieve? Let's do this together.
Hello, hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Good. Thank you very much for this session. God bless you. We are very grateful. Thank you so much. So they're trying to automate, build an automated system that would then enable the customer. The restaurant is trying to build an automated system because at the moment the order processing, the ordering system is very manual. So they're trying to make it automated to make it more efficient.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is the overall goal of Corner Deli. The ordering process is clunky, is manual. If I don't have a phone, that means I don't eat, or I don't want to get out of the house, that means I don't eat. And the issue for the company is now their sales are dwindling because other customers are now going elsewhere where they can order online. So they want to be able to implement a kind of a digital online solution where people can order online and get it delivered. So that is the idea of what they want to do. So if I start sharing back so I'm on, don't go to Miro, just watch what we are doing here. I will do it together and then you can go to Miro when you're about to start yours. So what I've done is to write out the process steps based on what I've read. First, process trigger, customer decides to order food from Corner Deli. That's what is triggering this process. Step one, customer contacts the restaurant based on the information that we've captured here. Actually, let me share the whole of my computer. Otherwise, I'll stop. I'll keep. Yeah. Can you see my screen? Okay. All right. So I can move from different applications. So based on what we've read here, I have listed out the gap, the process, the steps that the customers take from end to end. So step one, customer contact the restaurant. Step 1.1, and this is where gateway is. Where gateway is usually represented is 1.1 or path one, step one, path one, or step one, path two. So if customer visits the restaurant location, then proceed to step two, because the path is different depending on what option they want to opt for. Step two, receptionist takes order over the phone. And step one, if they're a repeat customer, if no, this receptionist gives many information over the telephone. So I've written it out in step by step because this helps me for when I'm mapping my process. I know what to do. So I need somebody to help me. So can somebody go onto Miro? Can I have a volunteer, please? Who is able to, because you just walk us through the steps. Nana Aisha, do you want to do that?
Yes, please.
All right.
What would you like me to do?
Are you on Miro? Can you say it?
Yes, I'm on Miro.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the Lucidchart and then you walk us through those steps so that we can start mapping out. Yeah?
Okay, yes.
So we're going to drag our, okay, actually, what do we need to do first? I'm on a blank canvas right now.
So the process trigger starts with the customer. Customer decides to order food from Corner Deli restaurant.
Okay, so the first thing we do is to bring in our swim lane diagram, right? So that's our swim, and then we want to say ordering process. And that is the as is, current state. So customer, right? First lane.
Yes, customer.
All right, so what does customer do?
They decide to order food from Corner Deli restaurant.
Okay. All right, what happens next?
So customer contacts the restaurant.
Contact restaurant. Okay.
Yes.
What's the next thing?
If the customer visit the restaurant location, then proceed to step 2.
So that is if. So that means
Yes,
there's a
if.
gateway there. So that means we have 2 types of customer, a customer that decides to visit the restaurant or another customer that decides to call. So, and we represent that with the gateway. Okay. So we are going to look for a gateway here. You can either drag it from the storage here, or you draw your arrow and then select gateway. So we have one that says visit restaurant, and then we have another one that says call.
Place a call, yes.
Yeah, so call restaurant, right? Call restaurant.
Yeah, call restaurant.
Okay. Restaurants. Okay. And this is visit.
The restaurant location.
Restaurant location. Now, this is what we mean by sub-processes. Now, there's a separate process for what happens if they visit the restaurant. There's another one that happens for call restaurant. And let's do the call restaurant first, but I'm going to use this for, I'll put activity marker here as sub-process, and I'll change the color to, let's say that. So that would be our visit restaurant. Visit restaurant. Okay, so what happens if they call the restaurant? What's the next thing that happens?
So the reception takes order over the phone.
So that means there's a touch point for reception here. So receptionist takes order over the phone. Answer call, right? Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. That we may need to change to broken arrow, which is something like so. Oh, okay, it's not allowing me to. Is it because I'm using a free one? It doesn't enable me to enter the broken line, but that's fine. Yeah, answer call. What happens next?
So the next thing is repeat customer. Please repeat customer.
Is a question, right?
Yes, a question.
Customer? So again, because it's a question, we need a gateway there. Are they repeat customer, repeat, or new customer? Let's say new customer. So what happens if they are
if they are not, customer is unaware of available menu, receptionist then gives information over the telephone.
okay? Gives menu information to customer.
Yeah, if that's no.
Okay, this is what I wanted to, sorry. Okay, so gives menu information, new
over the
customer.
phone.
Okay.
No,
Or if
that's no, if it's no, then
okay.
the receptionist gives information over the phone. Then if yes, delivery or pickup.
Okay, repeat customer. So that is an if no, okay, gives menu information. So if yes, if they are repeat customer, take order, right?
Delivery or pickup.
What's going on here? Okay. All right, if they are repeat customer, if no, customer is unaware of available menu, receptionist then give menu information. If yes, do they want to delay? Do they want delivery or pickup? So the receptionist asks them, do they want delivery or pickup? Okay. Delivery or pickup. So what's next?
If delivery, go to step 8.1, which is cash on delivery, if they'd like to pay cash on delivery.
It's been moved. Click Control Z.
Control Z. One second, Control Z. It's not coming back.
Okay. Undo. It has to come back.
Okay, found it. Found it.
Where is it?
It's just by the side, right click to move. I'm trying to move it. It's by the side where it says Miro tips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, found it. Okay, you know what? Let's leave that one, and then we can make it up. Let's just make something up so that we don't spend too much time on this one. Yeah, but I just showed you what I usually. It's not all the time that I write the process steps out first. As they are talking through, I usually record my process analysis workshop, and I ask questions as I do it, and then I go back to map out the process. But if we have the time to do it together, I can open my Visio and then we'll start mapping it out. So the first thing I ask them is, what happens? Like, can you walk me through your process from start to finish? Okay, yes, customers contact us, and at the moment we have two ways of receiving customers' orders. Either they call us on the phone, or they come to the restaurant. Oh, okay. If they call you on the if they call you on the phone, what happens? So yeah, we pick up the call, and then we need to find out, it's a business rule. We need to find out if they are repeat customers. Okay, so if they are repeat customers, that means they already understand our menu. If they are not repeat customers, then the receptionist will have to give information about the menu over the phone. So once they give information over the phone, so this one will be a yes, they are repeat customers, so they understand. If they're a repeat customer, we'll then find out if they want us to deliver, or they are coming to pick it up at the restaurant. If they say, we want you to deliver, okay? So if it's deliver, again, this is another gateway. If it's deliver, we just pick up, visit the restaurant, already made order over the phone, confirms order, eating or takeaway. Okay. All right. So if, as you can tell from their current process, is a bit clunky. If delivery pickup is delivery, take order. Okay. And then send order to the kitchen, to the chef. That means we need another swim lane here. To add another swim lane, we just click insert or right click here and insert lane below. So this lane would be for chef. Okay. And then take order, send order to chef, send order to kitchen. Chef prepares the food, As you can see, I am not adding the name of who does anything. I'm not saying customer contact, receptionist answer call. Just write verb object, verb noun. You know, it because you are writing it within their own space, within their own lane. You know that it is a task that the receptionist does. So chef prepares food. Once the food is prepared, possibly they send it back to the receptionist, or receptionist books, send it to delivery team. Let's say they have delivery team. So let's add another one, delivery team. Delivery team picks up order. Picks up order. Deliver order. Deliver order. And then they deliver to the customer. So that goes back to the customer's lane. Receive order. Pay cash because it's delivery. They can only pay cash. Pay cash. And then process ends. Because right now there's no way to even check whether they have any complaints or anything. So right now this is what the process is looking like. Okay, we can then change the color. Let me reduce this. We can change the color. If I highlight everything, I can change the color to blue, something like that. I can increase the font. All right, so let's walk through what we have captured already. I'm trying to, because of time, I'm trying to make it fast. All right, so this is their current state process. I know there are some that is hanging, and the rule in this is nothing must hang, everything must connect, okay? This is hanging because that is a sub-process, okay? Because it's a sub-process because it has to do another, it continues on another lane. So let's give it another color. Okay. So, and then end this, nothing must hang. So customer starts by contacting the restaurant. They call the restaurant and the receptionist answers the call. The receptionist asks them if they are a repeat customer. If you say no, the receptionist gives information about their menu, the kind of food they serve. If it's a yes, they are a repeat customer, they've ordered food before, so they know what food they have. So the customer then asks them, do you want delivery? Do you want it to be delivered, or you want to pick up in the restaurant? If they want it to be delivered, yeah, this is for delivery. If they want to pick up, pick up, then it goes back to visit restaurant, yeah? So delivery or pickup. So this is pickup. Are we getting this? Any confusion? Any confusion?
None at all.
Okay, great. All right, so let's start again, just to make sure that, and this is what we do. You have to go back and forth to make sure that nothing is hanging, everything is captured accurately. Then you go back to them to validate it. So contact the restaurant, call the restaurant. The receptionist picks up the call, asks them if they are repeat customers. If it's a yes, they ask them, do you want it to be delivered, or you want to pick up from the restaurant? If it's pick up, they visit the restaurant. If it's to be delivered, the receptionist take order over the phone. Once the order has been picked up over the phone, the receptionist send the order to the kitchen. The chef prepares the food. They send it to the delivery team who pick up the order. Delivery team deliver the order. The customer receives order and pay cash, and the process end. So event here is end, the process end here. They've received the food. Now, if they visit the restaurant, they visit the restaurant in two ways. Either they want to pick up what has already been ordered, or they've not ordered, just want to go to the restaurant to buy the food or something like that. The end here, we can actually remove this end there and connect it to the end there so that both of them ends there. Now we have the visit restaurant. Oh, what have I done? I use the, this is the, let's delete that. Ordering process. Phone ordering process. So this is phone ordering. And then we have restaurant pickup or something, restaurant pickup. Pickup process. Now in the restaurant pickup process, again, we are bringing the, actually, let's copy and paste. I'll delete the ones that I don't need. Okay, so we have a customer who visits the restaurant, right? Visit restaurant. So when they visit the restaurant, the first thing that happens here is visit restaurant. They meet the receptionist, pick up, or why is this giving me attitude today? So the receptionist asks them, have you made order over the phone? You know how they ask you, is it a new order or something? So that means there are two pathways here. So if they're customers that have already made order, pre-ordered, yeah, and then we have the sitting customer, they haven't pre-ordered before. They just want to eat in the restaurant, yeah. So if they're pre-ordered, this would be the pre-ordered. Nice tiny. Sit in. Sit in. Okay, so if they are pre-ordered, receptionist check if food is ready, check if food, right, actually. Contact kitchen. Kitchen for progress, for status. And then that goes to the kitchen. Ready? If it's a yes, package food. Send back to the receptionist. Customer. Please remember, we are doing this together. If there's anything, any part of the process that we're just making things up, it's not a real situation, right? So please say something. I'm feeling lonely here. So if it's a pre-ordered, the receptionist contact the kitchen for food starters. Is it ready? So if it's ready, this is a yes. If it's not ready, make food. Make food. Okay, and then links back to package food. Then give customer food or deliver. What word should we use? Yeah. Fulfill order. Yeah, fulfill order. Oh, actually, no. Customer has to pay, right? So package food. Request for payments. Right. Request for payment. It says that we collect two types of payments, either cash or card. Okay, so if it's cash, pay by cash, pay cash. Pay by card. Again.
Excuse me, I just want to ask, do we need to make a decision statement for payments by cash or by card? No, why can't just we say customer make payments?
Yeah, it depends on if there are different rules. If, for instance, if you pay cash, it's straightforward, right? You just, if it's £10, you give them £10.
Except you want to introduce an incentive. Maybe if you pay by card, you get an incentive. Or maybe that has to be a decision that needs to be made. If you have to pay by cash or by card. If not, maybe we should just say customer accept. Maybe just customer make payments. Okay. Yeah, you're right. But again, it could be that maybe they, you know, that thing that they use for, what do they call it? This thing that you touch. POS.
POS. Because we are by card, maybe they use POS, right? Let's say I touch the POS and it doesn't go through. What happens? What's the process of customer's card not going through? Is there any rule? So that's why I separated it. Because if cash is straightforward, you just give the £10. They see it's £10, they put it in the thing. But if I touch the POS and it doesn't work, so that's why I separated it, because it's going to be, you're right, we can still just say make payment, right? Payment successful. So this one, because it has a touch point with the bank, it has to go through because the POS can reject it. And if it doesn't go through, there may be another sub-process of how to manage that. That's why I separated it. But again, the process itself is all about what exists with that company. Yeah, we are just making it up. Yeah, does that make sense?
It does. Secondly, I want to ask, is it okay if we can put a number to each of the activities for proper identification?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Yes, for
Additionally, it's cycle time. So
Yeah.
in addition to the numbers, can we also introduce a cycle time so that the activity does not exist in perpetuity? So you have to have a limited number of times to actually perform that action so that we don't have bottlenecks.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There are time-based, if events are time-based, we need to put a time-based to it. We need to put a timing, we need to put the numbers, especially for traceability. But this is the as is. When we are scoping out our to-be model, because the scoping out of the to-be model will then translate into possible user stories, yeah? Then we can trace activity to each user story, to the acceptance criteria, to the test case. Yes, you are absolutely right. Thank you for raising that. Yeah, but this is just scoping, basically how to scope out the process mapping, which we've done extensively of, right? I want us to do some practical work ourselves. But this is, okay, let me quickly just finish this one. Payment successful, if it's a yes, end, yeah? So let's end it there. If it's a no, ask for, yeah, it loops back to request payment, and then they can pay in another way, okay? Pay cash, and then that ends there as well. Okay, I'm going to leave this sitting here to be another process, sub-process, which won't do anything because of our time. So let me put sit customer and serve, something like that. So, and then we'll put this in another color.
Please, I have one question.
Yeah, go for it.
With the sub-process, do you need to create a different swim lane to continue with the sub-process?
Different swim lane, not
Yeah.
not a different swim lane, to be a different tab like we've done here, because here we have, this is a visit restaurant sub-process. Yeah. So we created another tab for it. So if it's a sub-process, there has to be a separate process for that sub-process. Because what you're saying is that a sub-process is embedded within this process. Because what I could do is everything that we've mapped out here, I could put everything in one single process, which will make the process too long and confusing. That's why we break it in sub-processes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so let's quickly, let's link this.
Sorry, Treasure, do you mind?
Go on.
You know, when you have the delivery or pickup, why is that not in a box at all?
Where is that?
After gives menu, yeah, there, yes, please.
Why is it not?
You know, wait, why is that not an event? Like, it's not in any box.
No, it's a question, it's a gateway, a decision. Are they coming to pick? Do you want us to deliver to you, or are you coming to pick up? So that's why it's in diamond shape. Because it's not an activity. It's a question that, yeah, it requires whatever action takes place after that will be determined by the response based on that. That's why it's a decision or gateway. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so let's link this. If I right click on that, add action, page, and page.
Right. Okay. Is that a question?
Please, please, can I ask a question, please? It's very important, please, if you don't mind. Please.
Yeah, because I'm using one screen now, I can't see.
No. My question is relative to what is on screen, but not particularly, but it has something to do with it. So, okay, what do you do in a situation, for example, like I narrated to you earlier on, where you have, say, for example, you have about 30 and so on. Sure. Yeah. So, thank you, Treasure. How do you present as is, or how do you represent as is in an environment where you have stakeholders performing the same task, and those stakeholders may be about 27 people, say, for example, in an environment that is a court, for example, or an environment that prosecutes people, and you have 27 or 30 different attorneys or lawyers doing the same thing, but they've all gotten different workaround to do their jobs. They're all the same thing, but they all have different workaround, individualized workarounds that still gets them to the end of the process, but they're different. So how do you present that in an as-is situation like this?
You've got your job cut out for you there.
You can see I'm going through, I have a lot of pain.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. I'll quickly answer that one.
Thank you.
I think we need to understand the proper process analysis workshop, because this is just meant for process mapping. But to quickly answer that question, I have a similar thing. We have 5 different branches of office, and each branch does different thing. Yeah, with the way they work, they do. But we are working on standardizing the operation. So what we did is to I identify the stakeholders, the key stakeholders, the person that can make the decision from each of these branch, and get them into a workshop, all of them together into a workshop, not their team, but their head into a workshop. And then we start looking at similarities of their process. Because what they do, at the end of the day, the result is what job needs to be done. But the way they go about it is different. Now, we looked at similarities. This one we say, oh, we don't do it that way. This one, we do it this way. Fine, but the one we are using right now, can we find a model? So we use a model. And I asked them, okay, if A does it this way, B, you don't do it this way, but is that a similar kind of result you get? They said, yes, so we leave it at that. So you just have to find commonalities and themes, because it's as is anyway, they are trying to move away from that to standardize it, because at the end of the day, they will stop using the method they are using right now. But it's just to be able to understand. But if you have the time, you may need to do the individual as is of the 27, and then find a way to pull everything together into a to be in a simpler way. Does that make sense? You just need to get all of them, all the 27 heads, or it could be 4 heads, or it could be 1 head managing all the 27 different areas to come up with an as-is for you, because that means there is no standard operation procedure. That's why they are doing different things. And that's a typical example of where process analysis is important or needed. So that's what I will do. Yeah. Okay. I will stop what I'm doing now. I've shown you how to process map. We have to do this activity right now. I will put what I want you to do. Okay, we have a total of 164. We have just 5 rooms that we have set up, and it will be automatically shared, so you will find yourself in any room. But what I want you to do is just work together, if possible. Make it really high level. Please don't go as detailed as I have done it right here. Just make it as deep. Unfortunately, we will not be able to do gap analysis today. Yeah, I wish we can do, but gap analysis itself is a very big topic. So let's just quickly look at as is. We are not looking at to be right now, because for us to do to be, we have to do gap analysis. So the case study I'm going to give you, you just discuss everything we've done right now and map out the process for the as is, okay? That's what we're going to do. And maybe at some point in the future, near future, we can then do a gap analysis where we then create a to-be process. Does that make sense? So we have very few minutes to be able to do that. We'll give ourselves about 30 minutes to do that. So I'm going to put everybody in the breakout rooms now, but I will put the case study on the chat. Let me see how I can do that. Access link. Oh no, I can't. Right, how do I okay, I will put it on the chat. It's Golden Shoes case study. It's an interesting case study, actually. I like using it on our program. Why did we not use the broken line, which is for communication? Bisola, yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah, that shows you are really following it. I was just trying to be fast. That was why I was not, changing the lane. The lane that, because the Aziz that we showed is telephone. So yeah, broken line should be used, definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But I was just trying to run through that because of our time. So I'm putting this on the chat now, the case study for what you're going to be using. And great. So we will start with the Team Tokyo, room 1. If you're ready for us, who is going to be presenting on your behalf? And you can share your screen as well and walk us through what you have. 3 minutes, please. I'll do a countdown on my phone. Thank you. We can't hear you though. Are you on mute?
Hi, this is for room 1, and we didn't do much, but this is what we have.
You did a lot. That's a lot.
So the customer, we have the customer and the customer service, and we also have, this is the golden shoe. So here we have the customer visits the website, and then he sees an item. Afterwards, the customer walks into a store, or he phones, or he makes a call. I don't think this is right, but then the customer walks into a store. So after that, actually my connection went off, so we couldn't do much.
Okay.
This is just what we've got. Yeah.
It's still good. At least I'm happy that you could at least get your Lucidchart to work. You gave me, I can see a swim lane.
Yeah.
A pool with 2 swim lanes. I can see start, I can see task, I can see gateway, and I can see you use your connector. It's the concept that matters. So well done, guys. But do you want to quickly walk us through the pain point of, just walk us through, you still have 1 minute to do that, what that process is, not really by showing the map, just 1 minute.
I think maybe one of us is going to say something about that.
Okay.
Can I, obviously I could just read it out from what it is. So what it is, obviously, this golden shoe company, they run a legacy system that is very manually operated. It hasn't helped.
Just the process, the customer journey from end to end.
Okay, so customer
website sees an item, walk into the store or phone in.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So if customer obviously sees an item, they either phone in, use their card to order. So they phone in. If they phone in and they need to order, they use their card over the telephone, and then the item, if the item is available, then the item is delivered to them. Then alternatively, if they decide to walk into the store, which is close to them, then they'd go there and they manually purchase the item. I don't know, do we discuss the issues where they have problems?
Yeah, that's the gap analysis. I wish we had time to do that, but yes, brilliant, well done. Everybody in room Tokyo, can you give him a round of applause, please? Well done, you did well.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have team London, room 2? Ellen, your hand is up. Ellen, your hand is up.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay, all right.
I think
So-
that was a room. If nobody is speaking, I think I will speak, but I don't
Okay.
have I wasn't the one that did the Lucidchart, the process flow. So can somebody? Oh, so that's not my group.
That's the group.
What group is sharing? What group is sharing now?
Group 2.
Oh, I'm
Room 2.
sorry,
Yeah,
my
room
group
2
members.
is-
So sorry.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
room 2, introduce yourself and 3 minutes start.
Okay, my name is
still sharing.
I'm Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel.
Okay.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Emmanuel. This for group 2. From what we have there, the golden shoe stuff. The customer, this is the process. The customer starts, visit the website, views items. Now, is the customer interested in the item? If no, the process ends. If yes, he calls the customer guy, customer service. Now, when he calls the customer service, then they swim lane for the customer service, and the customer service receive the call. They receive the order from the customer. Then he checks, is the order available? If it's not available, he ends the process. Now, if it's available, yes, they process the order. Then this will stop. Use card and check if, based on what we have there, is he going to use his card or make order delivery also? So this will just stop.
Wow, I am loving what you've done. What you've started is making sense. You're using all the notations, which is great. Just a few slight feedback from me. One person starts. You can actually have 2 concurrent starts. But with this one, they're not, the customer service is not starting something that is independent of the customer. It's just a continuation of the process from the customer lane. So you don't need to have another start in the lane of the customer service because they are just, is a continuation from calling customer, yeah? But if the customer was deciding and doing their own thing and the customer service was busy, maybe prepping the store or doing something else, you can then start concurrently. But this is great. Start, visit website, view item, interested or not interested, it ends. The end there is the thicker border. The thicker border is the end.
But there's no time, that's why.
Yeah, it's there. Is the thicker border there? This the second row in the.
Yeah, because there is no time. That's why we just have to.
Oh, right. Okay. And then call customer and you marked it with a broken line, which is a message. Customer service receive order available or not. Brilliant. Process order. Now use card over the phone or you could just say, okay, payment method. That's it. To represent that. But I know that if you had enough time, you could really, really produce something really, really cool with this. So well done, guys. Well done, well done, well done. You have just 30 seconds, because I was going to ask you some other questions, but yeah, well done. Room London, a round of applause for you. Room New York. New York.
All right, I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, brilliant.
Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Your
my name is Timmy. I have my other team members on call. So our process thus. We start, the customer starts start the process. From there, is it like he or she visit the website or he enters the store? But we couldn't go on with this process. So on the eye level, from there, you visit the website, you select the items, you make phone call, then confirm the order. Haven't confirmed the order. If it is no, it ends the process. And if it is yes, it makes payment. then the order is delivered, then the process ends.
Okay, amazing work. Again, you use the notations. However, this looks like an activity diagram rather than a process because you've only just demonstrated what the customer does. And also, I understand that you're starting the activity with a decision. Well, it could be right because it's optional. Yeah. Do I want to go to the store to order, or do I want to visit the website? So yes, it's either or. However, enter store is in the store lane. The store is not an entity because I don't think the store is performing any activity. So that enter store could have been in the customer's swim lane because it's an activity they perform. And then I know it's probably because you don't have the time. When you get to make phone call, that is when the handoff could have been customer service or, you know, the staff.
Can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is our flow chart. My name is Solomon. Yeah. So basically, we, as stated on the problem statement, customers are meant to check on the website to find out what they are interested in. Then they have to make what's it called? We did a gateway indicating whether to go into the store to order or make a phone call. So from there, well, the walk-in is meant to go down at some point too. Well, from there, when you make the phone call, we thought the receptionist, there will be a customer service that will pick the phone and attend to phone call orders. So from there, what's that?
Item in stock.
So yeah, item in stock. So customer service will check if the item is in stock, and if this item is in stock, customer will decide whether to order. And well, if they order, then it goes to the store, the warehouse for picking, and from there it goes back to goes out for delivery to customer. We were going to go for that, but we were not able to. Yeah. We didn't have enough time to go for that into. Yeah,
this
payments.
Is looking great. Yeah, it's looking great as well. I can see all the notations you've used. 3 functional areas, 3 lanes, check websites. Then they decide, oh, okay, do I want to call to make the order or walk in? And I know you stopped there because of time. You could go to further with walking in. Receptionists pick up the phone to answer the check whether this item is in stock or not, and then order is placed. Okay, brilliant. Well done. Yeah, that's a good one. And again, I'm sure if you had enough time, you'd be able to do a lot more than this. But please, when we finish this afternoon, don't stop. Make sure you go, you all have the case study. If you can copy it from the chat and place it on a Word document and put it on your desktop and practice this. Please practice this. If you're on the Ladder Back Down website, WhatsApp group, please, you can screenshot what you've done and share in the group. Yeah, you can. I'm not promising to feedback, but at least if you can do that. But please don't stop at this. So let's have the final group, Lagos, Team Lagos. Team Lagos.
Yeah. Someone is still sharing.
Yeah. Somebody's still sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's see, how do I share this now?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, this is looking great.
Yeah.
Go on, name and present.
Okay, my name is FYA, presenting on behalf of Team Lagos. So we just worked according to the brief and kept it high level as well. And so our customer identified the products on the website. And because the website doesn't have the facility to take orders, they had 2 options. So one is either they go into store or make a phone call. So if they did go into store based on what they identified on the websites, they place the order, make payment, and customer services sends out that order or dispatches the order, and that ends the process. If they are still on the website and they want to make a phone call, so they make that phone call. Customer services takes the phone call and takes the order, takes the payment over the phone, and then dispatches the order. That ends the process. So,
well done. This is very clean, straightforward, simple. You keep it high level, which is brilliant. Awesome. My only, start, identify product. Is it in stock or website? Make phone call. Take order, take payments. Your arrow could go back to customer making payment from take payment.
Okay.
So arrow goes back to make payment and then come back down to dispatch order. And again, I know that you could do amazing thing with this as is if you had the time. So well done. Absolutely. Great job. Well done, everyone. Can everybody unmute just for 1 minute? 1 minute. Not 1 minute, 30 seconds, and give yourself a round of applause. Unmute everyone. Give yourself a round. I want to hear that. Yes. Great job. I am happy. And this is just our first attempt at having this done. So like I said, please don't go to sleep after this. Even if it's just 1 hour, spend 1 hour looking through that case study and mapping out the process from end to end. And then I just want to quickly show you just what I've done, what I wanted us to do on Miro, which we didn't have the time to do, to show you the gap analysis that I've done for the activity that I did, that I showed earlier, and just what it looks like in case you want to have that done as well. Ola, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just want to say I copied the task and pasted it on a WhatsApp group. Is that okay by you?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
I should have asked for permission before posting.
No, that's